Hey guys, good evening to everyone. I hope I'm audible. Can someone confirm? Yes. Okay, thank you for your responses. So let's begin our session. So yesterday, I given one task for you. How many of you got the? How many of you got answer for the task? Can anyone tell me? Anyone know the answer? Can I get response? What is the answer? This is our yesterday's architecture. That means there is a deployment, there is a replica set, there is a pod. So inside the pod, my application is running. So user is available here out of the cluster. How if customer want to access the application which is running inside the cluster, how? What is the way? And who will play waiter role in Kubernetes? Anyone did research on this? At least did you try to to know the answer? It may be right or wrong, no problem. Just let me know in the chat box. What is the answer? Who will play waiter role in Kubernetes cluster and how user can able to access the application outside the cluster which is running in the which is already running in the cluster, the application. Anyone? Okay, let us. So not API. So let me launch one EC2 instance. I need to create one cluster. Let me go for, let me sign in. Just give me a moment. I will sign into my account. Then I will share the screen. Just 1 minute. I will log in. Let me share my screen. I logged in into my account. So let me create one account. Let me create one server. We need to create one real-time cluster. Before that, we need to create one IAM user. I need access keys. So instead of creating IAM roles, I'm going to creating IAM user. So don't get confused. Inside the users, click on security, go to security credentials, open your user, IAM user, then click on the security credentials, look for AWS access keys. So use access keys to send programmatic calls to AWS from AWS CLI. So that's why I need access keys. So choose use case as command interface, confirm the checkbox, click on the user, click on the create access keys. Yeah, this is my access key. This is my secret access key. So let me download it. Click on the download option. Then it will download it into your local server. So access key is available. Secret access key is also available. So let me launch one virtual machine. Then we'll go for Kubernetes service. After executing the commands of Kubernetes, then we'll go for Kubernetes service. What is meant by Kubernetes service? Yeah, Ingress is also right answer. But before Ingress, you need to use one resource. Ingress will not expose application. Network components are not there. Let me launch each instance. Choose T2 medium. Click on create new key pair. .ppk. Create key pair. So choose the subnet. Launch the instance. So let me connect my issue instance. So meanwhile, let me get commands of Kubernetes installations. So kubectl, because of I don't want to execute one by one. I want to execute in the form of a shell script. Now it's running. Connect. Connection 60 seconds. Or yeah. So let me become as a root user. Immediately let me update the operating system. Okay, meanwhile, copy the commands of kubes cluster installations. Okay, I copied. Come to the server. because of cluster for creation of cluster, it will take around 10 to 15 minutes. So that's why let me configure cluster, then we'll go for practicals. So let me create one file, kats install.sh. Then enter, press I, give right click, escape, WQ, give ls, provide, change the permissions, enter, give ls. Now you can run the file. Now it will install the cluster. Kubectl, ekctl, AWS CLI. After that, we need to configure AWS access keys. Then we need to execute the command to creation of cluster. It's done. Now let me configure AWS access keys. The command is AWS space configure. So copy the AWS access key ID. Now come to the server, provide, then copy the secret access key, come to the server, paste it, hit the enter, then region name, in which region you have hit your virtual machine. It is nothing but US-West-1. Come to the server, provide, hit the enter, default output format, no need to enter anything, enter. So now let me create the command, kubectl create cluster --name kats-cluster --region. Region is nothing but US-West-1. Then --zones, availability zones. Just add letter A, then comma. Just add letter B. Then that's it. Now provide a node group name for your node node group. Then kats-node group. Then provide which instance type you want to use for worker nodes. -node type, then T2 space T2 dot medium. Then how many nodes you want? -nodes, I want 3 nodes. Hit the enter. So it will create a cluster. It will take time. So meanwhile, let's go for what is mean by what is our question? Yeah, here. So yesterday we have discussed up to deployment. So what is deployment? What is replica set? How we can able to roll out rolling updates, and all the things. And also, whenever you go in a restaurant, whenever if you go in a restaurant, so the customer don't go to the directly kitchen because the customer don't have access to go to kitchen and bring the food. So there will be a waiter. Waiter only will take the order. Waiter only will serve the food to the restaurant customers. So similarly, in Kubernetes cluster, application is running inside the cluster, but end users. So who are the end users? For suppose if I want to access Flipkart application, if I want to access Amazon application, Azio application, Hotter application, whatever it may be, any application, we don't know about their cluster, we don't know about their URLs, we don't know about their endpoints, but we know about their host names like Flipkart.com, Amazon.com, GeoHotter.com, or Misho.com, Azio.com, like that. So who will provide this here? Who will provide that host name? So whenever you want to access any application, by using the domain name, the application should be exposed inside the cluster. So whenever you want to access any application within the cluster or outside the cluster, you should expose your application. Without exposing your application, you cannot access your application. It may be within the cluster or outside of the cluster. So that is the problem. So whenever you want to access any application within the cluster or out of the cluster, who will expose your application? So before accessing application, the application should be exposed within the cluster. Then only it can be accessible. So who will expose our application? Anyone have any idea? I given a clue also. If I want to access application, the application should be exposed by whom? What is the resource? Yes, service. Yes. So let me explain what is mean by service. So that means waiter role played. Let me get service. Yeah. So this is service. So service will be here. Service will be here. So service only can expose the application, outside the cluster, and user can able to access the application. So this is the major role of service. So weighted role played by the service within the cluster. So let me explain what is mean by service. What is mean by service in Kubernetes? So let me explain. See, service is nothing but it will expose an application running in your cluster, or how behind a single out forward facing endpoint. That means if you take any cluster has only one single endpoint. So using that single endpoint, service can expose your application running in your cluster. And also, even when the workload is split across multiple backends, that means if you take any application, if you take microservice application has different backend services. If you visit Flipkart application, you can see multiple backend service, multiple microservice available. See here, see my profile is one of the microservice. Superguide zone, one of the microservice. Flipkart plus zone, orders, wish list, coupons, gift cards, notification, logouts. See, around total 9 services are available in Flipkart application. So these services are called microservices. So whenever application here, even you can split, even the workload is split across between multiple backends. No problem. So a service can expose your application. There is no any issue. So this is the reason only we are going with service. So in Kubernetes, service is a method for exposing a network application. See, if someone will ask how your network application will travel in your Kubernetes application, that means how your application network will travel, will route. This is the question. So you should say answer service. So service only exposing a network application that is running as one or more parts in your cluster. So the main key aim of service is in Kubernetes is you don't need to modify your existing application, but you can use unfamiliar service discovery mechanism. But you can run only code in your parts. See why they are telling you can run your code in parts, because our container is inside the pod only. Inside the pod, container will be there. Inside the container, our code will be say there. So that's why they are telling you can run your code in pods. So whether there is a code designed for a cloud native world or any older application you have containers, no problem. Use a service to make that set of pods available on the network so that clients can interact with it. So what is mean by client can interact with it? Whenever clients or end users interact with your application should expose within the cluster. Then only clients or end users can interact with our application, can able to access the application. So this is why we are going with a Kubernetes service in Kubernetes. So this is what is mean by service. So this is what is mean by service. So now let me explain how can we create service. How? By using, okay, we know about what is mean by service, who will expose our application inside the Kubernetes cluster. So remember, whenever you want to access any application, you should expose your application by using service only. In Kubernetes, there is only one service to exposing any application. It is nothing but service only. So remember about the service. Whenever you want to expose your application, you should have either pod or deployment. Okay, let me explain how can able to expose application by using service. So let me go for the cluster. It is ready or not? Again, it got failed. Availability zone. There is an issue with availability zone. Let me change availability zone. US one. Okay. Subnets can currently only be created in the following availability zones: US West -1A, US West 1C. Okay, 1B is not available. So that's why it is giving error. No problem. Let me change the cluster name. Okay, you look at the cluster. So meanwhile, go for the service. How to create the service? You can use killer code lab. Once our cluster is ready, then we'll go for the cluster. So meanwhile, we can continue with the killer code lab. So let me get the deployment YAML file. Let me get the deployment YAML file. Just visit the official document of deployment in Kubernetes. Scroll down, get the deployment YAML file. Go to the cluster killer code lab. Let me create one file for deployment .yaml. Press I, provide, paste, copy and paste. So let me change image name. I want to use my IPL application. I know the image name. Social 123, Morally Social 123 / IPL app and with colon latest. Let me change image. Container name is IPL. So we can keep container name as IPL, template label name as IPL, replica set label name is IPL. Then replicas count I'm giving 5. Here you know don't need to keep labels, not required here. So now I want to deploy this deployment in my namespace, custom namespace, not in default namespace. So let me change the name as well. All you have discussed about this ML file. That's why I don't want to explain about this. Okay, let me close. Let me do cat command, your deployment ML file. So let me create namespace because of we have defined one namespace. Let kubectl create namespace Murli-ns. Let me check kubectl get ns. kubectl get ns. It's done. Now let me run the YAML file. kubectl apply -f deployment. See, deployment got created. Let me check the resources. kubectl get all -n Murli-ns. Whenever you created any resources in your custom namespace, you have to call at the end of the command. At the end of the command, you have to call your namespace. Then only your resource will be visible. Let me check again. Yeah. See, 5 pods are created, deployment is created, replications are created. So now my application is running. My application is running. Now I want to expose this application. So how can I expose the application? Before exposing the application, you should understand about service types. See, we have service types 4. So let me explain what are the service types in Kubernetes. It is very, very important. Service types in K8s. So let me explain one by one. Let me increase the font size. Yeah. See, first one is cluster IP. First service type is capital S cluster. First service type in Kubernetes cluster, it is nothing but cluster. Why it is not pasting? Capital C. Okay. Cluster, capital I and P. Let me explain what is mean by cluster IP. See, cluster IP nothing but it will expose the application. It will expose the application within the cluster only. It will expose the application within the cluster only. The cluster only. And it will not give any external IP address. It will not give any external IP address. So when we should use this cluster IP? When we use this cluster IP service type. Whenever you don't want to expose, whenever you don't want to expose the application outside of the cluster, outside of the cluster. So this is the requirement. This is the when we should expose, when we should not expose the application outside the cluster. So this is what is meant by cluster IP. So let me explain how can we able to create a service type cluster IP. So let me explain how can able to create a service. Meanwhile, let me check. Okay, it's creating. So go to the clear code lab. So let me explain VI service .yaml. So let me explain how to write a YAML file. See, already we have discussed, if you take any YAML file, the first instruction is API version. So for service, API version is only V1 only, not apps /V1. For replica set, for deployment only, API version is apps/V1. Apps/V1. Will come later. I will discuss. Just look at the screen. So let me define the kind. See what is meant by kind? Kind will define our object. So what is our object here? Service. So capital S service. So now let me provide a meaningful name to our client, to our kind. So metadata name. So it's IP application IPL-service. IPL-service. So let me open the spec. Spec also you know about what is mean by spec, specifications. So now my question is how service is going to recognize your pod. My question is how service is going to recognize your pod. Anyone have any idea? If you want to understand, if you want to answer this question, you should understand about, you should remember the deployment YAML file. If you remember deployment YAML file, all the instructions, then you can answer this question. How service by name of label? Yeah. Yes, Panduranga said by the name of label. See the label name has been assigned to our pod by the deployment. So by using the label name only, service can recognize your pod. So let me explain how can we define our pod label name inside the service YAML file, which is already configured in deployment YAML file. So let me explain, which is simple. Just use selector end with colon. Exactly under selector, give two indentation. Just type app. Just type app end with colon. Here you need to provide the label name, your pod label name. Which label name you given inside the deployment YAML file. So the same label name only here you need to provide. So my label name is IPL. I know the name. So now my question is, you need to provide, you need to follow the protocols as well. So whenever so you need to provide a port number for service, a port number for container. So let me explain how can we define port number of service and container port number in Kubernetes service YAML file. So let me explain. That means already we told service can expose network application. So how service can expose? You should provide information of your service port number. You should provide your container port number inside the inside the service YAML file. So let me explain. So just type ports, end with colon, then give two indentation, then mention hyphen, then give space. So firstly, we should define protocol. See what is the protocol? Protocol is TCP, transmission control protocol. So this is what is meant by TCP. So now you should define port number of your service. So that just type port end with colon. See the service port number, it could be anything. You can give whatever you want. There is no any restrictions. Now I want to give only 80. So let me explain. The next one is target port. See, it is very here you may get little confusion. So focus. Remember look at the screen. Remember the difference between port and target port. See what is mean by port. What is mean by target port. So let me comment here. Then you can understand easy. So your service configure your service port number. your service port number. Then what is mean by target port number? Container port number. That means which port number you given inside the deployment. So that port number only here you need to provide. That means so whenever service is going to after creating service, whenever user want to access application, service can route your traffic to the particular pod by using this target port. That means service is going to target your pod by using this port number. So that's why we should provide target port as your container port number. Which port number you given inside the container inside the deployment ML file, that port number only here you need to provide. So pod port number. Sorry, pod or container port number. Pod or container port number. So see the difference between port and target port number. So it is not our wish, but port number is our wish. So remember these differences. So now let me explain what is that we are going to creating service type cluster IP. Now where and how can I define service type cluster IP? That means now I want to expose my application within the cluster only, not outside the cluster. So how can I define the service? How can I define cluster IP in service ML file? Let me explain. Simple. Exactly under ports. Exactly under ports. Just type only. Just type end with a colon. Here you need to define your service type. So whenever you are going to define a service type, first let it be capital. Cluster IP capital C, then IP capital C. So this is how you can able to define your service. So that means this ML file is going to exposing my IPL application within the cluster only, not outside the cluster. Why? Because of I defined service type as cluster IP. Then what is mean by cluster IP? Cluster IP is nothing but it will expose only the application within the cluster It will not give any additional IP address. When we use this, when we use this service type, whenever you don't want to expose your application outside of the cluster, so that time only you can use service type cluster IP. Now let me explain. Let me close this ML file. So I'm holding a moment here. Anyone having any questions regarding this service ML file? Please, you can use the chat box. I will answer your questions. Regarding this service ML file or service, anyone having any questions, please you can post in the chat box. I will answer. Okay. Please explain port and target port. So let me explain. Service port. What is mean by service port number? What is mean by port number? See, when usually whenever you want to access any application, we should use public IP address. Some public IP address like that, and end with colon. Some port number like that. That means whenever you want to access any application outside the cluster, you need port number, right? So that's why service for service also you need to provide one port number. And how service want to target your port number? By using port number only. That means how service can route the traffic to your particular port number. That means if in your cluster there will be many parts. There will be many parts. So how can service can target your part? So whenever you want service target, whenever you want service want to target your port number, your pod, you should use target port number. You should define target port number. See, target port number is nothing but our content port number or application port number. Whatever the port number you define in the deployment ML file, that port number only you need to provide. But whenever you want to access application, you should use this port number. This is service port number. But you should not use to access application by using target port number. Why? Because service is going to our application is going to exposing by the service, not by the pod. So that's why whenever you want to access any application outside the cluster, you should use port public IP address colon, then service port number, not target port number. So this is the difference between port and target port number. See, service is nothing but how we are going to exposing our application outside the cluster. See, that's why I have explained restaurant analogy. If you look at the screen, there is a kitchen. In the kitchen, there is a chef is available. But whenever you go to restaurant, you should not go to directly kitchen. There will be a waiter. Waiter only will come to you, will take your order. Then again, we'll go back to the waiter will go to the kitchen. Waiter will bring our food. Again, the waiter will serve food to you. So why? Because of customer doesn't know about your kitchen. That means customer don't know where your kitchen is there. Where is the way? What is the how that, and also customer doesn't know, don't have any access to go to direct kitchen. So similarly, in real time, whenever you want to access any application, cluster will be outside of the cluster. User will be out of the cluster. But how user can able to access the application? Whenever user want to access any application, the application is already running in cluster. Service only you have to use. The what is mean of service? Service only can expose your application. Then it is easy to understand. Then it is easy to access the application from out of the cluster. So this is what is mean by service. Is there any reason to expose the application directly? Is there ever a reason to expose application directly? Can you improvise your question, Terence? There is only service only. In Kubernetes cluster, service only can expose the application. There is no any resource in Kubernetes cluster to expose your application. You should use service only whenever you want to expose directly your application. So no questions, right? Any questions still? Okay, let me move on. So now let me create the service. So service YAML file is ready. Okay, here my cluster is ready. So let me go with my cluster. Okay, let me get my deployment YAML file. Before that, let me close. First, let me get deployment YAML file. Copy the deployment YAML file. Let me create this deployment in my own cluster. Before that, let me check kubectl get nodes. See, 3 nodes are running ready. Now let me create a deployment. Deployment I. So let me create namespace as well. Let me define a service YAML file. Let me copy the service YAML file from the lab. Copy the service YAML file. Come to the cluster, right click. Let me define namespace. Morally-ns. Yeah. So now let me run my YAML file. First, let me run a deployment YAML file. Deployment created. kubectl apply-ef service. Service also created. Now let me check all resources. kubectl get all. If you look at the screen, 5 pods are created and running. Default services, my service is available. IPL-service. What is the type? Cluster IP. Then it will give only internal IP address, but it won't give any external IP address. What is the port number? Service port number 80. What is the protocol? TCP. What is the age? 14 seconds ago. Then IPL-deployment. Deployment also created. Then replica set also created. See, replica set deployment age is 21 seconds ago. Service age is 14 seconds ago. Parts age is 21 seconds ago. That means after running the deployment ML file only, I created a service. So now it is now my IPL application is running as is exposed within the cluster only, not outside the cluster. So this is what is meant by service type cluster IP. First, let me explain service type 2. What is that one? So users talk to the application and through the service via the port. So should not that be a default? Users talk to the application through the service, okay, via the port number. That's fine. So should not that be a default? You can decide. Yes, it should not be default, but you can decide the port number. As a DevOps engineer, you can decide, no problem. So now let me explain service type of port number. So before that, let me go to the notepad. So let me explain service type 2. It is nothing but node port. See what is mean by node port. See, it will also expose your application. It will also expose the application on worker nodes, and it will give one public IP address. It will give one public IP address, and also it will give one public IP address. But there is a restriction. There is a port limitation is available. There is a port limitations. Whenever you want to go with node port service type node port, there will be a port limitations. So what is the port limitations? It is nothing but, see, if you go to the service YAML file, let me show you. See here, service port number I given 80. So it's up to it's my wish. I can give whatever you want to, because of I am going with cluster IP, service type cluster IP. But cluster IP don't have any port limitations. But whenever you go service type node port, you should do there will be a port limitations. So that is nothing but whenever you want to expose your application using node service type node port, the port number you should use between 30,000 to 32,767. So you should use between 30,000 to 32,767 port numbers only. You should not use your own port number, your own wish port number. So that is the port limitations are there whenever you want to go with service type node port. Then when we use this port number, this service type node port for testing purpose on for testing purpose only. That means whenever you want to test your application, how my application is going to run. So the performance, whenever you want to know your application performance, but you can go for, you want to test your application, how my application is going to work, how my application is going to run. See, whenever you want to test, you can go with the node service type node port. It will give an IP address, but you should use a port number between 30,000 to 32,767. So now let me explain how can we create why such a specific port number. For what? For testing purpose only. So now let me explain how can we define service type node port in service YAML file. So now I want to change the service type node port in my service YAML file. Just simple, open the service YAML file, define, remove the cluster IP, just type node capital P, node port. See, capital P, whenever you are going to defining, service type node port in any service YAML file, YAML file, capital N in node port, capital N, and port capital P. So let me explain how we can able to now you need to provide the port number, node port number. So how can we define the node port number? Let me explain. Just under the target port only, just type under the what, one second, under the target port only, under the target port exactly, just type node capital P port end with the column. So which port number should I use? I should use between 30,000 to 32,767. So now I want to use 30,000. Sorry. Let me come. Node capital P port end with the colon. So now I want to use the port number 30,080. It's up to you. You can choose whatever you want between 30,000 to 32,767. So now I'm going to using 30,080 port number. So let me save this YAML file. Let me run end with colon QLS. Now let me run the YAML file. kubectl apply -f service YAML file. Hit the enter. See, it's configured. Now you can check kubectl get all -n Murali -ns. I can see my service type is node port. It is not cluster IP. It is showing node port. So there is a cluster IP. It is, but it won't give any external IP address, but it will give public IP address. I will show you where it is available, how you can able to access the application as well. I will show you. Then port number, you can see 30,080 port number. It's my port number. It's my node port number. So now my question is, how can I access the application? How? What is the possible? Where is the way? What is the way? So let me explain. See, whenever you want to access any application, firstly, you should know on which node your pod is running. On which node your pod is running. So whenever you want to know on which node your pod is running, you should use one command. What is the command? Let me explain. The command is kubectl get pods -o wide. So whenever you want to see full details of your pod, on which node my pod is running, node is nothing but worker node. We have 3 worker nodes in the cluster. So out of 3 worker nodes, on which node my pods are running. So if you want to see that information, you can use the command kubectl get pods -o wide. Hit the enter. You can say, okay, I need to call namespace. Hit the enter. You can see this is the node. This is the node name. Which node on which node your pod is running. So and also, how can I know the name, pod name? Let me explain. The pod name is kubectl get nodes -o wide. Hit the enter. You look at the screen. This is the pod name. What is the pod name? IP 196.168-0.150 US West compute internal. So you have to recognize by using this IP address. What is the IP address? Last 2 digit 150. Where it is? Yeah. So this is the 150. That means first pod. My first pod is running on my first node. Then what is the second pod? Node IP address 254. What is the 254? Where it is? Yeah. Second pod. A second pod is running on second worker node. Then what is third pod? 150. Again 150. That means on first pod only it is running. Then what is the fourth pod? 61. What is the port number? 61. See, it is a third worker node and 61. third worker. That means two parts are running on my first worker node. One part is running on second my worker node. Two parts are running my third worker nodes. So now if you look at the screen, these are the nodes. This is the node name, kernel version, status, role container, age, and version. Then internal IP address of my nodes. Then external IP address or public IP address. So by using this IP address, you can able to access your application outside the cluster, but you can use port number colon 30,080 only. Before let me explain. Let me copy the external IP address. So this is my first worker node, public IP address. So copy the public IP address, open the new tab on your browser, just provide the IP address, end with colon, then mention the your node port number 30,080. Hit the enter. Okay. I given wrong 30,080. So it won't access. I will show you. I will tell the reason why application is unable to access. I will tell the reason as well. Just look at the screen. Look for the error. What error we are going to getting? Just stay tuned. See, the site cannot be reached. Anyone can tell me the reason why I'm getting this reason, this error? What is the possible reason? Inbound rule. Yes, Narayana message said inbound rule. That means, I told you, whenever you are going to creating cluster, at a time of the cluster creation command, I define hyphen node type T2 medium. That means each worker node will use each worker node will create one virtual machine, each instance. So you have to go to this worker node security group, this worker node virtual machines. Each worker node has one history instance. So you have to go to this worker node history instance security group. There you have to enable port number 30,080. So let me define. So go for the security group, look for the remember the IP address. What is the IP address? Public IP address 196. So let me go to the my AWS console management. Click on the instances. You can see three worker nodes. Along with main instance, main virtual machine. Let me do refresh. See, these are the worker nodes. This is the worker node 1, worker node 2, worker node 3. So let me recognize what is the port public IP address? No, 45. It is not the public IP address. What is the port 45? Okay, this is the second worker node. Okay, let me go to the second worker node. Come back. No, not this one. Then last one, I think. Click here. Yeah, yes. Say public IP address 196. Same IP address here 196. So in this history instance security group, we need to enable port number 30,080. So click on the security group. Click on the security group ID. Add the rule. Click on edit inbound rule. Click on edit inbound rule. Click on the add rule. Go with custom TCP. Define the port number 30,080. Now choose anywhere IPv4. Then save the rule. And also look for outbound rule. What is the outbound rule? Okay, let me edit inbound rule. Okay, already showing a custom. Okay, 0404. No need to edit. Now directly You can go the web browser, just do refresh. That's it. Now I can say application is able to access. So this noteboard will use only for testing purpose, not for production, not in production environment. It will use only in staging environment or testing environment. So this is what is mean by noteboard. Okay, now time is 8:30. Take a break for 15 minutes. Everyone come back by 8:18. Go for a break, everyone. Come back by 8:18. Go for a break, everyone. Yeah, hey guys, I hope you came back. Can someone confirm? Yeah. So let's move on. So we are in discussion of service type node port. See, already we have created service type node port. We are able to access the application as well. We are able to access the application as well. So now, so this is not suggestible. This is whenever you want to access any application using node port, it will give more. It will not suggestible because of that there is and there are port limitations. So we should not use or we cannot use our own port number, a custom port number. So that's the reason only whenever you want to test any application, so that time only you can use the service type node port. So let me go for the service type third one. So what is the third one? Let me explain. Load balancer. Yeah. So let us discuss what is mean by load balancer. So it will also expose application. It will expose the application outside the cluster, outside the cluster, and it will give it will give one external IP address. It will give one external IP address, and there are no any port limitations, and there are no any port limitations. There are no any port limitation. There are no any port limitations. So when we use this load balancer, let me explain. When we use this load balancer, whenever, whenever, whenever you don't have, whenever you don't have host name or domain name to your application. So now we are seeing Flipkart.com, Amazon.com, Geo.com, AWS.com. So like that, whenever your application doesn't have any domain name or host name, but you want to access application also the cluster without any port limitation. So that time only you can go with service type load balancer. So let us discuss how can we create a service type load balancer. So let me open the service YAML file. Simple. Remove that node port, not required. Remove the node port, not required. Then type, you have to change. Remove the node port. Just type capital L load, then capital B balancer. So this is how we can able to define a service type load balancer. Capital L load, capital B balancer. No type of mistake. Yes. Now let me close this YAML file. Let me run the YAML file. kubectl apply -f service YAML file. Hit the enter. See, it's configured. Now let me check kubectl get all. For example, let me check only service. Kubectl get all, get SVC. See, SV stands for service, full form. So let me call namespace. If you look at the screen, my service name is IPL-service. Type is load balancer. Here you can see cluster IP. It is internal IP address. So here I can say one external IP address. So by using this IP address, we can able to access the application. So let me try to access the application. I copy the URL. If you do refresh here, if you do refresh, it won't access. Okay, no problem. Port number 880, service port number, not container port number. Hit the enter. See, I can able to access the application. So let's scroll down. So this is the IPL team logo, but If you click on CSK team logo, you can able to get all place details, CSK place team list. So click on CSK logo. So you can see Dhoni, Patirana, Ruturaj, Rachin Ravindra, Suresh Raina, Samir, Shivam Dube, Ravindra Jadeja, all places are available. Now come back, click on the Mumbai Indians logo. If you click on Mumbai Indians logo, Rohit Sharma, Hardik Pandya, Tendulkar, Suryakumar Yadav, Pempaka. Now come back. If you click on the RCB logo, you can able to get you can able to see Virat Kohli, Duplessis, Will Jacks, Dinesh Karthik, Cameron Green, Rajat Patidar. Now come back. If you click on SRH logo, you can see Abhishek Sharma, Pat Cummins, Head, Nitish Kumar Reddy, Hendrich Klassen, Bhunesh Kumar, Maiden Marker. So this is how service is going to expose or any application within the cluster or outside the cluster. So this is what is meant by service type load balancer. Then last one, we have to discuss about last one. It is nothing but external name. It is nothing but external name. See what is mean by external name, service type external name. So let me explain what is mean by external name when we can use this external name. Let me explain. It will assign, it will assign, it will assign host name, it will assign host name or domain name to your service to access your application. To access your application outside the, to access your application outside the cluster. So for suppose, there is a Flipkart application. So Flipkart application domain name is flipkart.com. For Amazon.com. So like that, whenever you want to assign a domain name, whenever you want to assign a host name to your application, you can use service type external name. So, but whenever you want to go with the external name service is a special type of service that will map Kubernetes service name to an external DNS name. So essentially acting like a alias. That means it doesn't create a traditional cluster IP or proxy traffic, but it will return a name of pointing to the external name. So this is what is meant by external name. So whenever you want to, when we use this external name, see typically use external name when you want to your application in a Kubernetes cluster to talk to an external resources. So whenever you want your application want to talk to external users, external resources like database server or API endpoint. So that time only you can use external name. So again, I am telling when we use external name, whenever you want your application in Kubernetes cluster want to talk to other resources like database or any API endpoint. So that time only you can go with the external service type external name. So let me explain how can we define external name in service YAML file. Simple. I'm not going to creating service type external name, but I will explain how can we define service type external name inside the service YAML file. So first let me remove load balancer. Let me remove the load balancer. Just type external name, capital E, external, capital N, name. Then remove the node port, target port not required. Remove the node port and port also not required. Protocol also not required. Protocol also not required. Port also not required. Label name also not required. Label name also not required. Just you have defined this simple information. Now let me explain how can we assign a domain name. See exactly under type, just type external capital N name, capital N name, N with column. So for suppose flipkart.com, flipkart.com. For suppose amazon.com. For suppose google.com. So like that, you can able to map your domain name by using service type external name. So now I don't have any domain name, but in real time, in very rare case, we will use this external name. Very rare case with by chance of 1% or 2% only. But for interview purpose only, we had understand about what is meant by service type external name. So let me save. I don't want save. Let me give ls, give cat command. Yeah, it is there. So this is all about what is mean by service types, uh, cluster IP, node port, load balancer, external name. So this is what is this. These are the service types. So far, anyone having any questions, please you can ask. So what would happen if you use a name that was already taken? It won't work. That's it. Simple. Sir, what is mean by namespace? Go see name already I explained about namespace many times. Did you watch recording videos? Go through and recording videos. Simple namespace is nothing but how you are going to dividing a single cluster into multiple namespaces, multiple spaces. That is mean by namespace. Any questions? What why port limitations? Why port limitation? You think, but the port numbers are reserved for node port only. Those port numbers are reserved for the service type node port. Any other questions, sir? You said how to use service, but finally, how they club all these services. But you said survey, you said how to use service, but finally, why they club all these services? Why? That's why I'm telling there is a port limit. These port numbers are reserved to the for that node port. Panduranga, can you come again your question? Can you what kind of services you are asking? You are talking here. I create only one service, but you are telling club all this. As of now, I create only one service. Means how to use in real time. I will explain. Just wait and hold on. I will explain. Already clearly I told when we use cluster IP, when we use a node port, when we use a load balancer, when we use external name. You have to decide as a DevOps engineer, it's your job. You have to analyze. These all are called analytical skills. You have to think, you have to decide which one is better for your application. Which service type is good, suggestible for your application? I will explain. Just hold on. Are these ports are for testing decided by industry, or these ports just for AWS? See, Kubernetes is not for AWS. Kubernetes is for any platform. Kubernetes is for Azure, AWS, as GCP, Oracle, IBM, any cloud, and also Windows, not for only AWS. See why there is port limitation. The major reason is there will be to avoiding conflicts with system port numbers. For avoiding conflicts with the system port numbers. So that's why there is a port limitations. Okay, now let me explain in real time how can we use this service. So it is very confusion question. I will clarify you. See, but so in real time, mostly we will go with the service type cluster IP only. But in real time, if you go with the service type cluster IP, then how can we access the application? Clearly, I'm telling here. I told here it will expose application within the cluster only, but it will not give any external IP address. But how can I access the application? How? What is the solution? What is the way? So let me explain. So, but mostly in real time, we can use service type cluster IP only. But rarely we will use a node port. Whenever you don't have any load balance, any external name, domain name, you can go with service type load balancer only for temporary purpose only. For temporary uses we can go with the external load service type load balancer. But external name, we should not. As of now, my knowledge, no one will use this external IP, this service type external name. So now let me explain. So whenever how in real time we will access the service in real time, how can we use the service? How can able to access the application? It is nothing but Ingress. See, someone said in the beginning of the class, Ingress. See, what is mean by Ingress? Why we should not go to, for suppose, if you don't have domain name, but if you don't want test application, but you want to access the application. So that's why whenever you don't have any domain name, whenever you don't want test your application, what is the solution? What is the way to access application? Load balancer only. So load balancer only will give one external IP address, but then you can able to access the application. But why in real time we will not go with low service type load balancer? Because load balancer is not free. Load balancer is not free. It will paid. It is a paid service. It is a paid. It is a paid. So let me explain how why we should not use load balancer in real time. Why we should go with Ingress. Let me explain. So for suppose, let me go to the Flipkart application. If you look at the screen, here I have 9 services. So if I want to expose all these 9 services, I have to create service YAML file for each service. But if I want to access each service outside the cluster, I should expose all these service as service load balancer only. But if I expose all 9 services using service type load balancer, I will get more cost. For suppose load balancer will give for load balancer cost is $5. Just assume $5. For suppose for 9 services, you have 9 services, but I want to expose all 9 services by using load balancer. So how much how much amount I need to pay for 9 services if I use load balancer? Sorry, if I use load balancer, 9 5 is 45. That means $45 I need to pay for using the load balancer. But now I want to reduce cost to my client. So that's why I should go with Ingress. See, Ingress is a free of cost. Ingress is free of cost. But you can, for suppose, Ingress also will give a load balancer. Ingress also, it will give one load balancer. It will give one load balancer, but here only we are using only one load balancer, not 9 load balancers for 9 services. Whenever you go with Ingress, using one single load balancer, you can able to access all services. For suppose using one load balancer, what is the cost? $5. That means you are going to saving to your client around $40. $40 you are going to saving to your client. So this is how you have to think as a DevOps engineer whenever you want to work in for any project or any company. You are going to saving, you are going to save $40, you are going to saving to your client. So this is why we are going with Ingress. So let us discuss more about what is mean by Ingress. So in real time, you should define your service type as cluster IP. Then if you want to access your application, please go with Ingress. Ingress will give one external IP address and not external IP address. It will give one address, external address, not IP address. And also by using Ingress, we can able to assign, we can able to map our domain names like flipkart.com, amazon.com. So let us discuss more about what is mean by Ingress. So let's go for official document of Ingress. Ingress in K8s. See, it's very simple. It is very easy to understand about what is meant by Ingress, and it is very, very important. See, make your HTTP request or HTTPS request network service available using a protocol-aware configuration mechanism. For suppose, see, if you click on the notification, Flipkart application, if I click on search bar, see here I can see HTTPS : /. So Ingress can handle this protocol. Ingress can convert your can transfer your data securely using the HTTPS protocol. So whenever you want to convert, whenever you want to access any application via HTTPS protocol, please go with Ingress only. Ingress can handle HTTPS network protocol, and also Ingress can handle HTTP protocol. If I click on my IP application, see here I'm using load balancer IP address, but here I can see not secure. Why it is showing not secure? Because I am following the protocol HTTP. HTTP is not secure, but HTTPS only secure. But if you look at the screen, Flipkart application, here I'm not seeing not secure, but I can see HTTPS. So whenever you want to manage or maintain HTTPS protocol securely, please go with Ingress only. And also by using Ingress, it is easy to route the traffic to n number of backend services. See, clearly they are telling the Ingress concepts lets you map traffic to different backends servers. So what are the backend servers? If you go to Flipkart application, so these are backend servers only. This is front-end server. Whatever we are seeing homepage, it is all about front-end server. But in Flipkart application, we are having around 9 backend servers. See, if you click on order servers, Ingress only can route traffic easily to backend servers. So this is why we are going with backend servers. So Ingress is all about Ingress will route the traffic two types. If you slowly scroll down, Ingress will route the traffic based upon the two types. See, Ingress exposes HTTP and HTTPS routes from where? From outside the cluster, not inside the cluster. To where? To services within the cluster. Where? Within the cluster. So that's why we are going with Ingress. Again, I'm explaining. Ingress expose HTTP and HTTPS routes from where? Outside the cluster to where? Services. Where your services are available? Within the cluster only. So traffic routing is controlled. That means Ingress can control your traffic by how? By defining rules. That means inside the Ingress, you can able to define rules. So by using these rules, you can able to control. You can able to control your traffic. So define on the Ingress resource. So there is a client. Client is nothing but we are the client. Just now I clicked on Flipkart application. Just now I clicked on Flipkart application. Whenever I click on a Flipkart application, the request will go to the Ingress manage load balancer. I told you here, Ingress will give one single load balancer. Ingress will give one single load balancer. So whenever I clicked on any application URL, the request will go to the Ingress manage load balancer. Then inside the cluster, we have to create. We will create one ingress. So the request will go to the ingress which is already created inside the cluster. Then ingress will route in the rule. That means inside the ingress we have to define our rules. So rule will route the traffic to the service. Service will route the traffic to the particular pod. So this is why we are going with the ingress. So slowly scroll down. Slowly scroll down. Slowly scroll down. Just look at the screen. So Ingress may be configured to give services externally reachable URLs and load balancing traffic. So and also you can able to use terminate SSL and TLS certificates. So this is why we are going with Ingress. So let me explain more about Ingress. So whenever you want to use Ingress, what are the prerequisites you must have? Whenever you want to create any ingress for your service, you must have ingress controller. See, ingress controller, it is a free of service. It will satisfy an ingress. Whenever you want to satisfy your ingress, you should install ingress controller on your cluster. What is mean by ingress controller? Let me explain. See, ingress controller anything but in order for an ingress to work in your cluster, whenever if you want ingress to work in order in your cluster, you should require ingress controller. So there must be an ingress controller running. Without installing ingress controller, you cannot use ingress. So you need to select at least one ingress controller. So make sure it is set up in your cluster. So this is what is mean by ingress. So in order for the ingress resource to work, so the cluster must have an ingress controller running. So this is what is mean by ingress controller. So just let me come back. The prerequisite. What is the first prerequisite? We should have ingress controller on your cluster. Then what next? You may need to deploy an ingress controller such as Nginx Ingress. That means Nginx Ingress is open source platform. You can use this Ingress Nginx as ingress controller for free of cost, but you can choose from any number of ingress controllers. So this is what is meant by ingress controller. So ideally, ingress controllers should fit the reference specifications. So in reality, the various ingress controllers are operate slightly different. So this is what is meant by ingress. Why we are going with ingress? So ingress is very helpful to route the traffic. So the Ingress YAML file should be like this. Ingress YAML file. See API version. What is the API version? Networking.kats.io/v1. Kind is ingress. So in metadata name, you can provide a meaningful name to your kind. Then annotation. See, annotation nothing but it will store your key value pairs. So this is what is meant by annotations. Then specifications. So specifications, spec stands for specifications. Then ingress class name. We should use ingress class name Nginx. So rules. I told you, by defining the rules, you can able to control the traffic. So under the rules, you can able to define. So which service you want to route, which traffic, which port number you want to allow, which service you want to route the traffic. So all these things should be controlled by under the rules inside the service inside the ingress. So if you look at the screen, backend. Then what is the service name? There is a service. Then name. What is the service name? Our service name. Whatever the service here you need to provide. Here you need to created. You have created. So let me check kubectl get service -n Murali -ns. So this is service name. This service name we have to define inside the Ingress YAML file. See, but for example, they have defined one test, but here you need to replace with your actual service name. Then port number. You have to provide your service port number, not target port number. So this is how we can able to define services inside the Ingress. So path type. So whenever you have multiple microservices, see each microservice has one path. For suppose if you take Flipkart application, see Flipkart application has 9 services. So 9 services has different path. If you click on orders, if you click on orders, just click on search bar. See, look at the screen. After dot com, what is there? Forward slash account. So this service path, Flipkart application, Flipkart company has defined inside the Ingress. So that's why I can able to access the order service. If you click on wish list, see path is changed. See, path is changed. Forward slash wish list. If I click on coupons, see path is going to change. So this is how see path is changed. Forward slash account, forward slash rewards. So this is how Ingress is going to route the traffic by using the paths. So here you need to define the your service path, forward slash test path. So for this is what is meant by Ingress. So regarding the Ingress, anyone having any questions, please you can ask. Regarding the Ingress, anyone having any questions, please you can ask. Any questions regarding Ingress or so far entire Kubernetes topic? See, by creating the Ingress, Kubernetes topic will be completed. We just need to create the Ingress only. That's it. That is the pending in the Kubernetes topics. Okay. So let us discuss how can we create the Ingress. So firstly, what is the prerequisite? Firstly, we should install Ingress controller. So I have a command. I will give command is with you. So before that, let me expose this service as cluster IP. This service as cluster IP, not required load balancer. Because of I'm going to use Ingress. So let me define cluster IP and with colon give ls, just type kubectl apply -f then service. See, it's configured. Now you can check kubectl get service. See, cluster IP. It has been changed as cluster IP. So now let me explain how can we install Ingress controller. See, I have a command. I will share it with you. Don't bother. Let me get the document. Where is the... Yeah, here. So this is the command. So copy this command. This command will help you to install Ingress in your cluster. Come to here, just paste it, hit the enter. See, it will create one namespace. See, all resource has been deployed and created. So that means I have installed just now Ingress controller. So means Ingress will give us a test to different tabs of our application. Yes. Then means Ingress will give us a platform to test different tabs of our application. Is it right? See, it will not give no, you are wrong. Ingress means it will not give us a platform to test different tabs. No. In real time, whenever you want to deploy any application, whenever you want to access any application, you should go with Ingress only. That means it is easy to route the traffic. It is easy to route the traffic between multiple backend servers, multiple microservices. That is the reason only we are going with Ingress, not for tested different tabs. Okay, so let me create a Fatafat Ingress. So I have installed Nginx Ingress controller. So now I want to see those resources. First, let me show you namespace. Q shall get NS. See, look at the screen. Ingress-Nginx. 69 seconds ago, it has been created. So in this namespace, our Nginx Ingress controller is running. Let me show you. kubectl get all -f ingress-nginx. Hit the enter. If you look at the screen, pods are available. Pods are available. Services are available. See, load balancer. I told you, Ingress will give one load balancer. So this is a So this is a deployment, replica set job. So that means my Nginx Ingress controller has been deployed and it's running. So now what next? We need to create a Ingress YAML file for exposing our service. So let me write vi space ingress dot YAML. Hit the enter, press I. So let me get YAML file of Ingress from here. So I'm going to copying this YAML file, come to here, just give right click. So change service name. So remove the service name, test. My service name is IPL-service. This is my service name. So path, I'm going to be providing default path. Okay, no need to specify any test path. Then class name, Nginx class name, we should use Nginx only, not Nginx-example. Now let me change my Nginx Ingress name, IPL-Ingress. So this is the YAML file. Whenever you want to create Ingress to your service, don't forget to provide your service name here and service port number. Don't forget. So and also please use Nginx as Nginx class name. It is very important. So let me save this YAML file. Let me save this YAML file. Let me create the Ingress cubes. Okay, let me define namespace as well because of my service and my service deployment is running namespace Morley-ns. Morley-ns namespace. That's it. Now let me run the create. Let me run this YAML file. kubectl apply -f ingress. See, ingress has been created. So now I want to check whether it is created or not. How can I check? kubectl get ingress, call your namespace. Morley-ns. See, if you look at the screen, ingress name is IPL-ingress, class is Nginx host. See, whenever you want to assign a domain name like flipkart.com, amazon.com, here you can able to see your host. But address, say Ingress will give one default address like external IP address. So it will take time to create address. See, what is the port number? 80. What is the age? 30 seconds ago. It is my service port number. Okay. Now give a pair. Let me check again. Yeah. Now I can see one address. So by using this address, I can able to access my application. So let me go to the new tab. Let me go to the new tab. Just try to access. So no need to mention :80, not required because of it's not IP address, it's a address. Hit the enter. See, I can able to access the application. So now you don't need to use load balancer, node port, external name. You can directly use process IP. Then you can create ingress for your service. So this is what is mean by ingress. I will share the command with you in the chat box. Please try to uh, save it somewhere. I'm going to sharing. Check out everyone. Check out the chat box. I send the link to install Nginx Ingress controller on your cluster. Please keep it somewhere for future reference. So far, anyone having any questions, please you can ask. I will answer your questions. Sir, share that file, we will save it. Okay, you can just visit the, okay, I will share the ML file in the chat box. Check out, but you just need to modify. If no questions, so can we wind up our session for today? If no questions, can we wind up our session for today? Yeah. Okay, guys. Thank you. Thank you. See you on Monday. Yeah. Thank you. Good night. See you on Monday. Bye. Yeah. Okay, Amar. Can we wind up? Shall I stop? Next topic is monitoring tools. Tomorrow we will discuss. Monday we will discuss monitoring tools. Prometheus Grafana.
Yes, sir. We'll wind up for the day.
Wow. Okay.
Thank you, students. We'll see you on Monday. So Saturday, Sunday, no class.